I'm Jeff Ponchik. I am the original founder of Repost. I started the company. I do have a technical co-founder, Joey Mason. So we started it together. But yeah, I came up with the idea, do all the business marketing side while he is on the engineering and product. And yeah, Repost started out as a solution to a very specific problem and then turned into something much, much more different and kind of built like grew sort of wings of its own. So Repost originally, I used to work at a company called Fullscreen, which kind of think of it as like a management / advertising agency for like the largest influencers on YouTube at the time. And I was on the music team there, and SoundCloud had rolled out monetization for the first time ever.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like you can place an ad in front of a song and an artist can like generate revenue from it. How does it work? And the rights clearance aspect behind that was very, very difficult, to say the least. Like literally involved email, spreadsheets, and physical mail. Like you had to send letters to people to get your music monetized on SoundCloud. And so I looked at that and I was like, it's insane. Like if you're an artist with a major label, they might have the workforce, the knowledge to know how to do that. But if you're an independent artist, which, to me is the best part of SoundCloud, like you're kind of out of luck. And so Repost just started out as like, just how can we just build a tool to help artists streamline monetization on their profiles? And so the initial product was like a dashboard. If we give you access to it, we were selective about who we'd work with. And you would pull in all your music via API, you select what you want to monetize, we'd collect all the information. And then I would send the letters on the back end until we figured out how to automate it, right? And so that's how it started. And then, because the SoundCloud monetization program was so new at the time, it was kind of one of those things where we realized we didn't want to be a business built on just the back of one company. And a lot of the artists and labels we were working with were like, oh, we like working with you. Like, do you do distribution? Do you do these other things? And so we actually kind of, once it got big enough, people just started telling us what it was they wanted. And we just started building out those things for them. And so we eventually pivoted into being a full-fledged music distribution.
What's up, guys? It's Adrian and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited because I got the opportunity to interview the founder of Repost. And it is because of this guy that you guys even have the opportunity to monetize your music on SoundCloud. We go over so many different topics because you guys had so many questions. We covered SoundCloud Select or Repost Select. We covered distribution. We covered features. We covered monetization. Basically all the questions you guys have been asking me in all my other videos, we cover in this video. So if you want to find out more or have any questions about Repost, then watch this video because I'm sure we cover it all. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Yes, Repost originally started out as basically a company that would speed up the process for artist monetization. Specifically,
just handle it. Handle the payments, handle the monetization itself. It was honestly something that SoundCloud should have built initially, but it wasn't built, and so we built that.
I never knew that's how the process went. I thought everything was always, automated or like digital. I didn't know like physical letters and stuff had to go out.
They don't anymore, but that's how it originally was set up.
Okay, is that how most distribution companies do it, or is it a little, like, for example?
No. So SoundCloud's a little different, right? And it's changed a lot too. But so generally, when it comes to music distribution, there is a something called DDEX, which is an XML delivery format, which is basically the standard across the entire like music DSP space. So if you're Spotify, if you're Pandora, if you're Tidal, they all accept a DDEX feed, right? And so, and what is in that feed is, the files themselves, the artwork, the track, as well as data around territory information and rights ownership. And so, SoundCloud at the beginning didn't accept DDEX because it was a UGC platform. Anyone could upload, right? But you can't, not anyone can upload to Spotify, right? They take DDEX.
Right.
SoundCloud now takes DDEX, right? So now to play nice with the major labels and other indie distributors and rights holders, you can deliver via DDEX to SoundCloud now, but at the time you couldn't. So it was it was just a different process, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, sick, dude. They're super lucky to have you on board, because you literally have advanced the company and made it to what it is, or helped get it to where it is now. Because beforehand, I know a lot of artists wasn't monetizing. I know a lot of artists are reaching out to me basically every single day with questions on Repost, on monetization, on distribution through the platform, and I'm sure we're gonna get into all of that. But real quick question: what do you think the most used feature of Repost is? Would you say?
I should know this. It's so track artwork is incredibly popular.
Yeah.
So being able to create that visual banner behind your waveform. You can't have track artwork without monetizing the track. So therefore monetization is the most used feature. Yeah. So I'd say monetizing your music on SoundCloud, distribution is very popular. And then our marketing app suite too, like the whole kind of pitch to playlists and to partners and other DSPs. We do get a lot of high usage there, because I think artists want to reach a bigger audience.
So how does that actually work? Because I know that I haven't personally used that. I understand the concept of it, but how does it actually work? So you basically, I know there's qualifications to be able to use that. Once you're able to use it, you can literally just click a button and then your song gets pitched to someone, or is it a playlist curator, or like how?
So we slice it a couple different ways. So there's pitching to DSPs. So that's like pitching to Spotify for official Spotify playlist placements, right? Then there's pitching to partners. So these are partnerships that we have, curators, other platforms we feel we can market your music. Then we have our own owned and operated SoundCloud channels and Spotify playlists and YouTube channels, and you can pitch to those. And then there's also pitching directly to SoundCloud's curation staff themselves. No matter which way you go throughout any four of those entry points, it depending on the type of pitch, we need to have a certain amount of lead time. So you can't like pitch something. Spotify doesn't want to playlist something that was released 2 years ago. You know what I mean? They want the content that's new and fresh and hot, right? So assuming you've given us enough lead time, you can pitch it in. It goes into a queue. So there's like a back end that employees of SoundCloud and the company use. And someone goes through the queue and listens to the music. And depending on what it was pitched into, makes the decision, right? And so if it was pitched to, say, Spotify playlist pitching, we have a staff of people whose sole jobs are to meet with Spotify and Apple and Tidal and all these people and pitch their curators, weekly. And we do standing meetings. And so if something comes through and it's good and we like it, then we'll have to hand it off to that team and try and make something happen with it. We obviously can't pitch everything that comes through.
Sure, you get that.
But but really it's an opportunity to just get your music in front of like our marketing staff, in a way in which we can say like, oh, whoa, this music's great, or like this artist has great growth. Like let's try and do more for them. And we kind of go from there.
All right, so if you're one of those people that have not been verified on SoundCloud yet, then stick around to the end of this video, because we actually talk about the exact qualification needed to be verified on SoundCloud. So do you look at more, because you just said that, oh, this artist has more growth. Do you guys look at other factors in the pitching process, or is it specifically the quality of the music?
It's a few things. So we definitely look at like trajectory of the artist, right? Like if the numbers are up and to the right on like follower counts, subscriber count, monthly listener counts, like that is an indicator that people already like the music and we should pay attention to it, right? Which I think is fair. The music gets listened to as well. So I think it is up to like a person's personal preference, to be honest. So there's like kind of a check there. And then we also collect a field for like, what else is going on with this release? Like, tell us about your marketing plan. Like, and sometimes people will say like, I actually got this song synced in a Jeep commercial or something, you know what I mean? Like giving us that information, we can see that and we'd be like, oh, like, cool, this is going to be played in a commercial on TV. Like that's marketing data we can use to inform what we do with it, you know? So, yeah.
That's really interesting because everyone hears of playlist pitching and there's always that description tag, that description section, but a lot of people leave that blank, me included, if I'm rushing. So it sounds like it definitely helps to put something into that section because I thought it was all automated, as in like it's machine listening to the music, it's machines making the determination to place it in a specific playlist. But now that I know that it's not,
there's a person, yeah.
now that I know it's an actual person.
I mean, there's a person who listens to every track that gets distributed at Repost. So any song that gets distributed through our platform, like there's a person listening to it to approve it and send it through as well. So
wow,
it's a lot of music. Yeah.
I didn't know that it was manual. So that, you know, I even need to change my marketing strategy when it comes to that, because now actually, can you talk about that a little bit? What are some things that an artist can say in that description to make it more likely that they get onto a playlist? Like, it shouldn't just be like, I released this song because I was going through this, I was going through that. It should be more data driven, or it should be more growth driven. Like,
yeah, look, I mean, it's always good to just think about what's your story, right? And I think there's nothing wrong at all with including like what you went through creatively to come to the art that you ended up creating and making, and that's totally fine to include. But yeah, I think that like what probably moves the needle is, you know, what's going on in the world today, right? Like what about what you're doing is different than just writing a song and putting it up on Spotify, right? Like, is there anyone else behind it? Is there anything, you know, special happening with it? You know, is another thing is, you know, there will be you know, certain months with different like curation strategies based on, you know, like
right,
you know, I don't know.
There's like a question actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do they listen to the full song, or do they listen to glimpses of the song? So should an artist make the intro of their song the most energetic and like attention grabbing, or you get what I'm asking? Like, is there?
Yeah, it's
based on the person.
I'm not the biggest fan of that, because I think I don't think anyone should change their music or their art so that it's more because they think it'll hook people. Like, at the end of the day, like the best like thing that markets music is the music being good, right? Like we've had tracks get into hundreds of millions of plays, and the reason people come back is because the content's good, right? And you can't fib your way into hundreds of millions of plays, you know, across like various DSPs. You gotta, like, unless you're just like totally botting and it's just totally fake, but you know, you'll probably get in trouble and get caught and kicked out. But there's yeah, at the end of the day, you got to make the best music you humanly can. But that being said, yeah, like we are noticing music is getting shorter in length, which is interesting. It's becoming certainly more like hook driven. You know,
so
but, yeah.
We touched on the word bots. So a lot of artists out there use services that get them plays.
Marketing services,
basically marketing services, or you know, they fake their image. So In regards to bots, how does I'm sure SoundCloud has a way, or Repost, both of you guys have a way of identifying bots, and I'm pretty sure you guys don't count that towards monetization. So
No.
can you talk?
No, good.
Yeah, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we kick people out all the time. If we catch it and find it. Yeah. I think there's one piece of it, which is, making sure content isn't like sampling content that they shouldn't be. And then the other piece is bots. And so we have a ton. So there's a SoundCloud platform, and then there's Repost distribution. The SoundCloud platform has a ton of stuff built into it to identify and stop bot farms and botnets. But the people who launch these things are very creative, and it can be sometimes like whack-a-mole a little bit,
Yeah.
And then that data certainly informs the distribution product, which I run, to tell us who the bad actors are who might already be in Repost, right? And yeah, look, like botting plays it's not okay, especially if you're monetizing your music, right? Then you're taking revenue and market share from other artists who deserve that revenue. And yeah, we kind of don't.
You guys know, basically,
it's not an acceptable practice.
Yeah. So I know there's channels out there that allow you to, like, they're big channels. They allow you to pay them to post on their page. What if that channel has bots?
Still not okay.
I know, but like, it's hard for the artist to know if that channel is using real streams or real plays, or if they are using bots to boost them. So would the artist still get blamed if a channel sent bots their way?
So botting only occurs if we catch it on the channel where the botting is happening, then that's the channel that goes down. Not just, so if like you have a promo channel or a label channel or something like that, you're putting other artists' music on there and botting it, the other artists' content would not go down. They would be that channel or that account where the botting was happening. Yeah.
Okay. So that's awesome. Thanks for like sharing all this. I'm just gonna a lot for a lot of artists because I have artists asking me things all the time. The other question I get asked a lot is with monetization, like how does it actually work? I know you guys switched over to a new version. What kind of results have artists been getting since the switch? Like, I guess you would know where to like start, I guess.
Yeah, totally. So when you log into Repost and you go to the SoundCloud tab and you monetize your music, what you're doing is you are allowing for ad revenue and subscription revenue to be generated around the plays of your content. So we have SoundCloud Go or Go Plus, which is our listener subscription. That's like what competes with, like, if you're paying for a subscription for Spotify, right?
Yeah.
And then we run ads. These revenue from these plays only occur in certain territories. So we don't have monetization everywhere in the world. It's only in the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK. I think I said the UK already. And then like most of Europe, not every country in Europe, but a lot of like Western Europe. We're always trying to bring out new territories for monetization. But plays that don't occur there, or plays that happen through API. So like, if you get a play on a blog or something, that would not count towards it.
So like Repost Exchange, are you familiar with Repost Exchange?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
those are the non-monetized plays.
Yeah, so plays wouldn't come, monetization wouldn't come from there as well.
Yeah, in the listening has to be happening generally through our mobile app or website. So so that's what monetization is, and you should totally do it. What we just launched is called Powered Royalties, and it's a bit of a hard concept to understand, but I'll try and do my best. So if you look at any other streaming platform, it pays out via market share. So let's say I'm paying $9.99 for Spotify, right? All that money gets put into a bucket, a pool, so to speak. And when at the end of the month, based on every artist on Spotify's platform, based on their market share, they get paid out based on how many plays they've gotten on the platform relative to the pooled subscription revenue. So what that means is like, you could kind of say that like a fraction of my 99 that I give to Spotify every month is maybe going to Drake. He's like one of the biggest artists, but I may have never listened to him, right? So even though I'd never listened to Drake, a fraction of my $9.99 goes to him every month, right? What FPR does is the opposite of that. So it basically says, the $9.99 that I pay to SoundCloud as a listener, the revenue only goes to the artists that I listen to, right? It's not going to Drake. It's not going to Lady Gaga. It's not going to all these other people fractionally, right? It's just going to, if I just listen to your music all day, every day, you're getting more money. And so what that does is it makes it so that a lot of, it's kind of bad for a lot of like bigger, more like major label type artists, but it's way better for independent artists who actually build an engaged following on SoundCloud, which is good for us because we want to keep our platform relevant, and reward artists who actually have their fans coming back and listening. So
would you say SoundCloud is mostly built for independent artists, the smaller artists, or is it for everyone? I mean, it is for everyone, but I push SoundCloud a lot because I think it's an amazing platform for new artists, for smaller artists, because that you can honestly build a true fan base there. If you build a fan base there, they'll want to discover you on every other platform, so they'll go follow you on other platforms. Plus, you guys allow you to put links in the song links. On the songs, which make it a good marketing platform.
Right.
So I push SoundCloud a lot for independent artists. I'm not so familiar with the benefits of it for major artists. I haven't looked into it. But yeah, would you say it's mostly for independent artists or?
Yeah, so the political answer I have to give you is it's for everyone, right? But I think that, look, like what's great about SoundCloud is the fact that anyone can start, anyone can prove themselves, build an audience, and market themselves. And it's so uniquely positioned in the space. There's not a whole lot of platforms quite like it, right? Like maybe you have YouTube, maybe you have, some other places that are just like open like that. But yeah, look, it's like, it's such a low barrier to entry to start, to just upload your music, find fans. And yeah, I think if you look at like the Billboard Top 100 and you look at how many of those artists started on SoundCloud, it's pretty incredible, right? We have a saying, it's what's next in music is first on SoundCloud, right?
Yeah.
And which is, it's true, right? And the thing that's also just incredibly like interesting working at SoundCloud is the data too, like seeing like all these little scenes and communities of people around the world like starting to develop and be like, oh, well, what's happening in this territory? Like something's going on in Egypt.
Well, how does
you know
that
what I mean?
work?
Like, why is that? Like, and then you find out there's this like breakout scene that's happening in music there that's like doing some awesome creative stuff. And I think that's like the beauty and power of SoundCloud.
Yeah. How does that actually look? Like how does I actually have a bunch of questions, but how can you identify an area that's popping off? Is it through streams? Like, is an artist in that area getting a bunch of plays randomly? Is it?
Yeah, we track everything, right? So there's play data and then there's engagement data, right? So like, are people liking something? Are people reposting something? Are people commenting, right? And so, yeah, we can see it by territory, and we can see where the listening time is happening in comparison to other territories. And then we can, look at engagement data. You can look at genre data, right? So people input their genres.
Right.
You can see that's another really cool part about SoundCloud is you can input your own genre fields. So people are making up their own genres all the time. And so you can also track via that. And yeah, it's just, there's the tools to discover and ultimately figure out how to support these things.
And there's also inside stuff that we can see on our end.
Right.
So how is Repost different from some of the other distribution platforms? In your work, I would say.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's tough, right? Because I think with distribution, I think that when I think of distribution, there's kind of like two businesses happening, right? One is the at scale subscription, like DistroKid, TuneCore, CD Babies, right? And then you have, more like service level distribution companies, right? Like the Orchard, InGrooves, right? Where it's heavy rev share, but high touch services, right? Versus the others, which are like very tech enabled. On the tech side of things, it's like where we're different. I think to your initial question is the SoundCloud monetization and integration. Historically, a lot of these at scale distribution companies have not been good at SoundCloud monetization or offer it at all. And so for us, we knew that was something artists wanted. We invest heavily in that. The other aspect is the marketing app suite. So I think that, if you look at the ad scale marketing is really difficult because when you have a ton of artists, like hundreds of thousands, millions of artists, right? Like they all want the same thing. They all want to reach more people with their music. And that's not going to be possible for everyone, right? But that being said, kind of what we were talking about earlier, we have a marketing app suite, which I think is a little further along than like a lot of other distributors that are out there personally. Yeah. And then the other piece of this, which not a lot of people know about, is Repost Select. And that's actually the service level version of Repost. And we're writing advances. You have an account manager to help you with your release planning. We have direct access to our in-house marketing team. Wow. We have offices in LA, New York, London, Germany, right? So there's some global strategy that's going on. And then also like we can figure out awesome activations through our brand, the SoundCloud brand ourselves, as well as our, since we run ads on our platform, we have a brand sales team. We can actually help to get brands behind some of the artists that we work with. And so for us, we're operating both, which is like interesting. But yeah, I think for us, what makes us different, I think very much is dependent on the SoundCloud platform itself and how distribution and monetization like fits into that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. I'm actually super interested in knowing a little bit more about Repost Select.
Sure.
So what would the major benefit be for an artist to do Repost Select, and how much is Repost Select a month? What do you say?
Yeah, so Repost Select isn't really there's no fee, right? It's it's invite only, so we're selective about who we choose to work with.
The criteria is as well.
Yeah, totally. So for us, it's we take a rev share, so honestly our deals fluctuate anywhere from 50-50 in some cases all the way to like 90-10. It really depends on like how like lean forward we are with the partnership, right? And I mean, we're writing checks upwards of like $1 million plus checks, for some very large talent. And
are they independent mostly, or?
Yeah, we can't work with major labels. So yeah, I mean, for us, it's like if you think about it, we have the off-platform distribution business, which is at scale. We have the SoundCloud platform, right? And all the data that happens in there helps us to identify like, oh, like this artist, this East African underground artist is blowing up. Let's reach out. We can write that person a check. We can like give them access to a team, like level up so that their next release is like, it's like a full global marketing strategy, right? And it's using our data to identify and go after clients that way and provide value that way. And then the other piece is you also have a lot of major label artists who are coming off of their deals wanting to be independent, because now it's cool to be independent, to say you did it yourself. And so there's also a little bit of that happening too, where like, a much larger artist will sometimes come to us and be like, hey, SoundCloud played a really big part of my development. I want to distribute with you guys and have you guys really get behind what we're doing. And,
so it's kind of like
we'll have this conversation.
It's kind of like management, I would say.
It's a little bit more like, even though we don't do record label deals because we're not taking ownership, it's like offering record label type services.
So I'm assuming there's like terms that you guys have an agreement with artists.
So yeah, I mean, if we're gonna write a check, if we're gonna give you $100,000 and market you, like, we expect a term for sure.
Okay. So I mean, that's really cool. I don't want to go too much into it. and like, go into too much details because I know a lot of independent artists try to like kind of stray away from record labels because of terms like 360 deals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to like assume or put you.
We're not doing 360 deals. Okay. No, we're not doing those types of deals. No, it's very artist friendly, of course, but yeah.
But that's like you guys find artists, you push them. So basically, can we cover maybe like a criteria that an artist should have in order to get chosen by Repost? For example, new artist coming up, he doesn't have any support, but he hears you talking about you will help scale him if you guys see great results. What would that result look like from your end? It's just a lot of plays, a lot of shares, comments, a lot of engagement. I don't know if you guys can track sales or see sales from other platforms, but like, yeah, what are the criteria?
Yeah, for sure. So first off, what every artist wants is different. That's the hard part about building this business is like, you could want to be the next Beyonce, or you could be a lo-fi chill hip hop producer who makes 10 grand a month and you want to make 20 a month, right? And stay independent. And either path is like totally cool. And we're happy to work with either one, right? Yeah. So from like a criteria standpoint, look, we look at revenue, pre-existing revenue. We look at
from the
accounts and engagement on and off platform. Yeah. How much is the artist business currently generating? And then it's a conversation of like, where do you want to go? What do you think you need to, what do we think we can contribute to get you there? Yeah. And then just reverse engineering that and coming up with a plan. And if the artist fucks with it, like, then we say, yeah, let's do it, to be honest.
So since it is invite only, there's no real way of getting into Repost Select unless you guys do the outreach, right?
So we have a team of people that do outreach. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so we definitely are, on the ball of our foot, not the heel. There's also an apply page, I think, on our marketing site, so which does get checked pretty regularly, and people are welcome to keep applying as they grow.
Nice.
So we're always open to that. And then, look, like we're always tracking, like if anyone's using the distribution product or anyone's using monetization or just is active on SoundCloud, we're watching, right? Like I know that sounds maybe weird or creepy, but we're tracking these things and trying to make sense of, what looks interesting to us, and we'll reach out.
Would you guys start selling tracks soon? I know, like for example, Beatport allows you to buy music from their platform.
I would love that.
Yeah, if you guys did that, like that would be amazing, because then I could, like, a lot of artists could just generate income directly off the platform. Maybe they have a place they can upload their music, and
we already have a download button, right? So it's like, why couldn't you just let someone like mitigate that? Like, I want to charge $1 or something, and then
Is that coming in the future?
I'm not allowed to say, but I love that idea.
You love it, yeah. So I'm hoping. So, question: can artists eventually advertise on the platform? Because I know you say you run advertisement on SoundCloud, but say myself, I'm an artist, I want to advertise on your platform. Could I do that?
Yes. So we have a product called Promote on SoundCloud. Mm-hmm. So, and anyone who's a part of Repost gets access to it. So I think once you join, like every 2 weeks, we send like an email and some messaging out saying like, hey, you now have access to this Promote on SoundCloud. If you just go to promote.soundcloud.com, you can check it out. And our ad product is a way to purchase featured track space on SoundCloud. So like in the feed, it's like you say like, I want to reach listeners who are age 18 to 25 who like hip hop in the United States or something, right? And it will go up there.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
Like on the
we do have a pay for advertised product. Yep.
Yeah. What about if you're not a part of Repost? Say you're like an agency and you want to promote an artist on the platform. Is that possible?
Yeah, I think it is. I know we work with like rights holders and labels too, but yeah, I think agencies, people who want to do like larger spends, I think they would need to just reach out to our sales team and we can put them in touch. I'm actually not 100% sure about that, but I don't know why we would turn that down.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, of course. So the big question that a lot of artists are asking is how much does an artist actually make per like 1,000 plays? And I'm not sure if there's like a set number or if it depends based on countries.
Yeah. So if any distributor or label tells you you can get you will get exactly X amount of dollars per 1,000 plays, they're lying. Run away. Unless they're like going to do that out of their own pocket. So the way it works is every platform is different, right? So, but the one through line is subscription revenue, like what is on Spotify or say Apple Music, is always way more value than advertising based revenue, like say like YouTube, which is very heavily dependent on ad revenue. So what happens is when you look at different platforms, you look at a YouTube, for example, it's going to have a really low, what's called CPM, it's cost per 1,000. So that's how much you make per play. It's going to be really, really low, right? Versus something like a Spotify or a Tidal, which would be much higher because they have a large number of paying subscribers. Yeah. So, and it fluctuates every month. So it depends how many advertisers are advertising that month, how many paying subscribers are there this month? Was there a lot of churn? Was there not? It's also seasonal too. So if you look at, for instance, like the month of December is the best month of the year for revenue for artists because you have so many advertisers trying to sell stuff for Christmas and the holidays that the ad revenue just like spikes up. And then you also have people who are getting gifted iTunes gift cards and Amazon gift cards and stuff who buy music. Right. So it's one of those things where you like December's like the perfect storm and then everyone spends all their money and then January is the worst month out of the year, right? Because it's like, it's kind of like, so, so to answer your question, it fluctuates. And then with what we've launched with FPR, now it really fluctuates based on how engaged your audience is, right? So you have a really strong chance to earn a lot if people are really listening to you directly on SoundCloud and not many other people. So, yeah, it's not a great answer for you, but it's that's the reality of it. It changes. So
if you were a new artist and you wanted to make, I guess, say more money on the platform, what would you suggest? Like if you needed advice for yourself being a musician, like what kind of advice would you give them? Or what traits have you seen with more successful artists that the younger ones or the new artists aren't doing? Is it the branding? Is it the music quality? Is it their image?
Yeah, the music has to be good, right? I think that's super important. And you got to think about building like a movement or a cult around your music, right? I think people who have really kind of like something to say as it relates to their brand and their aesthetic is like people, and if that resonates with someone, that helps to like help make someone want to follow them.
Yeah, it's like a tribe.
What?
Like a tribe.
Yeah, like you got to create a tribe, and you got to know what your values are and what you stand for as an artist a bit, right? So I think that's really important. And then this is going to sound super not sexy, but best practices. So I cannot tell you how many artists we work with when they're like, oh, why am I not making more money? How do I make more money? And you actually look into the way that they're set up on YouTube, the way they're set up on Spotify, the way they're set up on SoundCloud, right? And they're not, if you can just tighten up to make sure that like the way you're thinking about SEO, the way you're like thinking about like the way you're presenting yourself, the way you're linking out to other places and things like that, like that can really make a difference. And it's not the sexy part of it, but it's like the growth part of it.
Yeah.
And then the other piece is I think also, the foundation. And then also the other piece is like knowing which platform matters to you, right? Like whether you're distributing with Repost or someone else, you have lots of data at your disposal. Like artists have more data now than they ever have had, like, ever. And so I remember I was working with this artist who had a really big YouTube following, right? And he would, he did like kind of what is it called, like MPC pad, like trigger beat type stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and we went to his back end and we saw that like in his music, about 50% of the way through, he would lose people would leave. They would stop watching the video. And we're like, well, what's happening in the music? And it turned out he would always kind of naturally gravitate towards like a breakdown in his music about halfway through. And we were like, oh, next video, just do a build, right? Or do like something that is not that.
So
we got really good with him. His name is Metronome, at like pivoting and tweaking like his content strategy based on like how his audience was consuming his music. And so if you can put in the elbow grease and actually look at the data and learn from it and have that inform what you do creatively, then you'll get better at reaching other people.
Yeah. I 100% agree because I'm a big preacher on data and use the data to optimize. So I guess when you work with artists, you're working with them on basically all levels. It's like you're literally looking at basically all their channels and helping them optimize on all their channels because you've invested in this artist, so you want them to be the best possible. So I think that's really awesome. I think that this is something artists should strive for, to be a part of Repost Select. I'm actually gonna hit you up.
Okay.
to get on it.
Okay. Shoot your stuff.
We'll definitely talk, man. Let me pull up some questions from YouTube. Okay, so I have this question that says, what if I'm a label page and I want to distribute an artist's song on Repost? How does that work?
Yeah, so the way we built our system is it doesn't matter if you're a label or an artist. So we're very good with organizations, and you can distribute an unlimited amount of releases with as many unique artist names as possible. That doesn't mean you can't, if you try and distribute to Beyonce's page, right, we're gonna like not let that happen. But but yeah, like if you're a label, you could totally connect in your SoundCloud channels, get started with Repost, and then distribute the music you deliver to artists to the artist pages. About 30% of the people we work with are labels, 30 or 40. And we even have a page when you're going through the distribution flow where it says, hey, can you input the Spotify and Apple artist links for this project to make sure it goes to the right place.
Okay. So I have a question about SoundCloud Planner. What would you say the purpose of that is? I see a lot of channels using that to repost songs and unrepost it at a specific date. Is that what it's technically used for, or can an independent artist use it as well, or is it mostly for channels?
Artists, so the purpose of it is it's sort of a community tool site where if let's say I have a SoundCloud channel with 10,000 followers and you have two SoundCloud channels with 5,000 followers and we both are in EDM, I can say, hey, I'm trying to promote this track. I've got 10,000 followers. You can opt in and say, I'm also trying to promote another track, and the platform will repost the track on each other's profiles as an intermediary third party, right? And so and what ends up happening is you end up having these chains on SoundCloud where people will get 10, 20, 100 different channels together and will repost your music across all those hundreds of channels on the SoundCloud platform to help market you. And so
you have to express that one more time. Okay, so
sure.
I'm an artist. I want to get my music reposted on SoundCloud. So I go to Repost Planner, or Me SoundCloud Planner, and there's people looking for other channels to have repost their music, or is it or is it like a place where I can find other channels looking for music like mine to repost?
I believe there's like a hub product where you can open up like an open trade and people can opt in or opt out, and like you can connect with new people through that. I would say the power users, the people who have like millions of followers worth of channels, like they just know each other and use the tool to repost each other's stuff. If that makes sense.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to make a video on how to use that, because that's
so that was started by a different founder. It was this fellow Jill. I can introduce you to him if you want to. If you want to like do a deep dive into that. Sure.
Yeah, of course. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'm just looking to see what other questions I have. So this guy said, I have a question on my SoundCloud. It's doing pretty good right now, and I have 20K plays in a week, and 154 followers. And when I'm signed into another account, I get ads on my own music, but I don't have Pro or Unlimited or anything. Is there a way I can get paid? So it sounds like there's someone who has a lot of streams, but he doesn't have a Pro. He's asking if there's a way he can still get paid.
Yeah, so he would need to set up a Repost account, or if he wants to buy Pro, you get a Repost account as well. And then just go into the SoundCloud tab and monetize the track, so the revenue is going to him. And if it's gotten over 120,000 plays, I mean, unfortunately that revenue has happened. So this person should do that soon. But if it's doing really well and it gets another 120,000 plays, then I mean, to me, it would be definitely worth the price of a subscription. You'd make more money back. Okay.
So what's the difference between Pro and Go? Go is mostly for listening, and Pro is for using the platform. If you have Go, do you still have all the services that Pro gives, or they're two completely different services?
So something I'm working on is simplifying all of these offerings, because it's like very confusing, right? Go is for listeners. Pro Unlimited is for like if you're a creator artist label. I believe if you pay for Pro, you get a discount on Go, but really the value of Go is you get ad-free listening. You can listen to your music offline, and I think it also includes high quality audio as well. So it's like a better listener experience.
Okay, awesome. So Jeff, I don't want to keep you too long. So if there's any thing that I forgot to ask, is there any last words you'd like to share with the audience? Actually, I'm curious. So you saw my video and then you reached out and was like, is it because you saw some of the comments and I was unsure?
I loved it. Yeah. No, thank you so much. I mean, I came across your video, watched it. I thought it was a very, very good walkthrough and understanding and analysis of like what we've built. Like getting into the comments and seeing like where people's confusion was or frustration, and like that was super, super helpful for me. And so whenever something like that happens where I can get a lot of feedback really quickly from a source, I want to reach out and say what's up, and because for me, I'm always trying to make my product and everything like better and more enjoyable for artists. Our mission is to help musicians make a living through their audiences online, right? And the simpler I can make it, the more impactful I can make it. Like, the higher chance I have of like making that possible. So I'm super appreciative of that video, and I want to reach out.
This one should reach a lot of people as well. I have a question about getting verified. How do you get verified?
Yeah, totally. So there is a form within SoundCloud to get verified.
But what are you guys looking for? Because I'm still not verified, and my channel is doing pretty well in compared to a lot of people, I think.
Right. Shoot me a note. Yeah.
So like, how do you get verified? Like, what are the criteria? Not just for me, but like for like everyone, you know? Is it mostly stream based or followers based? Because what I saw is a lot of people who have at least like 3,000 followers or something usually get verified. If you have under 3,000, I haven't really seen too many people. So I was just wondering if there was like a specific criteria.
I'm bringing it up right now. Sorry, one sec.
Yeah, I'll shoot you over my SoundCloud too, so you can like see, because I get like thousands of, I wouldn't say thousands, maybe like 2,000 streams a week.
Yeah, so this is the process. So we look at if you are first we identify like what type of account are you? Are you an artist, collective, DJ, label, curator? We look into the standing of your account. So if you've been warned about spam or copyright infringement, that gets taken into account. Like if you've uploaded stuff that's been taken down. We look if there's any blocked tracks on the profile and if they've been reinstated or not. We also look if your channel is monetizing and has been, is monetizing. We also then look at the profile. So what is the follower count? How many accounts does this account follow? We look at, is it a cohesive account? So does it have a banner? Does it have its links set up? Is it following the best practices of the platform? If the language is unfamiliar, we translate to English so we can view it. And then we also look if the account comments on other tracks on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
We look at upload regularity. So is this person uploading regularly to SoundCloud? And then we then look at we'll go to Instagram and other sites for the artists too and see if they're linking back to SoundCloud. We like that too. So if all those things are happening and it's good, then you'll have a higher chance of verification.
See, I didn't know any of that. It just showed the basics.
I know. Yeah, it should. That's good feedback. We should be more upfront about what it takes.
Yeah. So you spoke, just two last questions. You spoke about copyright. I did get a question on YouTube that said, that asked, a couple of my songs got copyright infringements or something like that. Would I be able to monetize afterwards? Is there a way to repair that?
Yeah. So if you go to support or customer support, you can file a dispute. And I believe the link would be included in the email you get when the content got taken down.
Mm-hmm.
If the content is, if you kind of go through the process, because for whatever reason the content was taken down for copyright, if you can prove that it in fact shouldn't have been taken down and we reinstate the content, then you can't monetize it. Okay,
but if not, then no, you're done.
If you sampled something you shouldn't have and a label asks we take it down, we have to, so.
Yeah, okay. So the last question is, would you be able to add on the feature tab for all artists? Like, for example, say there was the feature tab where you can click on the banner and it takes you to a website, or if you could feature other profiles. I don't have, so me personally, I have been using DistroKid as a distribution platform. After our talk, I'm going to look into Repost for sure. But I would still like to have those features where I could do custom banner art in the feature section and also the click. I'm even willing to pay a little extra a month for that, to have access to that.
Yeah.
Do you think that will be coming anytime soon, or is specifically only if you use Repost as a distribution?
You mean so just for SoundCloud monetization?
No, just to, I'm willing to pay extra to get those features with
right.
Even if I don't use Repost.
Yeah, totally. So the banner click through and the featured profile are more channel level versus, and doesn't have anything to do with copyright or anything, right? Then you have the track artwork, which we have to verify that the music isn't infringing or are there any rights issues before we put the artwork on. So to answer your question, I think yes, we are hoping to move to a world in which we can give those things away. The track artwork piece, we would have to make sure the content is monetized and known content to us. But for the banner click-throughs and feature profiles, we could certainly see that going into maybe ProU or, finding other ways to make that accessible if you're distributing with someone else.
Okay.
And I would say, yes, it's heading in that direction, but it won't happen anytime. It's not going to happen like right now, to be honest.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we get a lot of that feedback, and we kept it. We're keeping it in mind.
Okay, awesome. So last thing, what's the difference between SoundCloud monetization and Repost monetization? Because I get that a lot.
Yeah, that's another thing that's kind of confusing. So you have Premiere, right, and then Repost. They're the same thing. So they're both more or less within the that FPR concept I mentioned earlier, which is, you know, you get paid based on like more based off of your actual engagement. Same thing. You know, I think with the Repost, you know, once the music is monetized, you know, it is easier to pitch it to playlists and add track artwork and, you know, all that stuff. So there's some little added benefits to doing it through Repost, but you know, if you're part of the Premiere program and want to do it that way, that's totally cool too.
Yeah. So. I wish I could use the banner click button using Pro.
Yeah, that's good feedback.
Yeah, like as a marketer, you know, having that feature section and the banner click through would be like super, especially the banner click, because that means I could send tons of traffic to maybe a download of my album or something. So if Repost and SoundCloud Pro is the same, that I would hope eventually would be something that we get as part of it.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Now, if you found value from this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Also, if you had any questions that we did not answer in this interview, then drop those questions in the comment and I'll make sure I get the answers from Jeff himself for you guys. Now, I'm also gonna plug myself in a bit. There's a bunch of links under this video. Go and check out all my links. Go and follow me on all my profiles. Go and send me DMs. Hit me up. And also, if you want to buy me a coffee, there's a link to buy me a coffee on this video as well. And I also just started a couple of playlists that I'm running a lot of ads to and driving a lot of listeners to. So if you have any music, I am looking for new music. So send me a DM on Instagram or drop in the comments the link to your song so I can take a listen and add it to my Spotify playlist.